Welcome to Lifting the Soul Ministries podcast. Today we have a guest speaker with us, as my normal co-host, Jason Matthews, is not here with us today. And so I'd like to introduce Dwayne Klassen. He is a world-class men's empowerment coach, an author, a speaker, and a relationship expert dedicated to helping men unleash the remarkable man within. He's known as the coach for men. Dwayne combines wisdom, humor, and life-changing insights to inspire men to step into their authentic power. He is the creator of the Remarkable Man Coaching Program, the Remarkable Man Project, and the Remarkable Relationships Coaching Program for singles and couples. And that is designed to help foster connection, trust, and lasting relationship. Through his coaching, books, talks, and international brotherhood and programs, Dwayne empowers men to be champions to women, heroes to children, and brothers to each other. And he's redefining what it means to be a remarkable man in today's rapidly changing world. I want to thank you, first of all, Dwayne, for being here today as being our guest. And I want to just pass it over to you to just allow yourself to share a little bit about your story, your background, and what brought you to where you are today and creating this Remarkable Man program.
Well, thank you, Jason. And firstly, I appreciate you inviting me onto the program. It's truly an honor and a pleasure to be here and to be able to speak to your audience today. To answer your question, it's I'll try and give you the Coles Notes version as best as I can. The Remarkable Man Project and my brand, if you will, kind of got its ignition many years ago. I believe it was 2008. And I had what I call my perfect storm. And for many of you, you may be going through your perfect storm. And what had happened was in an 18-month period, the optics looked great in my world. I had a 7-year-old son from a previous relationship. I was in the relationship of my dreams at that time. I was engaged to my goddess. And I also had a multi-million-dollar outdoor advertising company that was just absolutely skyrocketing. And we had just opened up our offices in Las Vegas for our US division. So there I was. I was the king at that moment. I was in my alpha energy and things were going great. However, Source had a different plan for me and unraveled everything in about 18 months. I found out I had less than honorable partners to help me run my company. Went through a really nasty proxy battle. I won the company back, but there was nothing left to save. While that was happening, I found out that my 7-year-old son was not mine. And I tanked. I lost my edge. I lost my mojo. I lost my manly identity. Now, the woman I'm engaged with is a strong, empowered woman. She is an alpha. And she waited about 12 years for a man like me to come into her world. She was raising 2 beautiful daughters on her own. And I, Jason, I was her king. I was that remarkable man that she was looking for. But in about I think it was close to our 3rd year when this was all unraveling, the man that got engaged to stopped showing up because I identified so much of who I was with this startup because I invented this new product. It was my baby. And then to have that sense of betrayal from men that I truly trusted. And then also finding out that my son was not mine. My little champ was not my DNA. And I won't go through the whole story. It was just a moment in time that just really took the wind out of my sails. I ended up, like I said, winning the company back, but there was nothing left. We had to do a forensic audit, and it was too much. We couldn't save it. The energy that was happening within my relationship was tanking, and she had a great opportunity to go east and help her corporation go to the next level. I told her, you got to take it. And I got to clean this up over here. And off she went. And there I was. After 18 months, I had nothing. And I was looking around going, what the hell? And how do I shift this? How do I turn this around? And so I started looking for support. And I used to have a seminar company, and I was surrounded by empowered people and a lot of empowered women. And what I realized, Jason, was that women have a support network for pretty much every aspect of a woman's life. And I'm going, what do guys have? What's out there for men? And back then, I couldn't find what I was looking for until a buddy of mine said, hey, Dwayne, I know a friend that has a friend that has a cousin that he knows a guy that belongs to this men's group. You should go check it out. Jason, it was like every cliche you could imagine about a men's group back then. Church basement, bare light bulb, 12 guys in a circle, all commiserating about what was wrong in their lives and all pointing fingers. No one was taking accountability for their part in it. And that's not what I wanted. Fast forward, I went to a men's weekend, and it was the most misogynistic energy I could have ever have imagined. Here's a group of men that were challenged out in the real world, but there they were going to take on the king energy and then go home and reclaim their kingdom. You know, like, oh, now it's going to be different now. I'm going to be the king. And there's a bunch of guys drumming naked in the forest. I'm going, really? This is what it takes for me to be finding my edge, my mojo? And so there it was. I'm going, okay, church basement or drumming naked in the forest. This is what men have. This is it. So I started doing some research. And in that research, I realized that, wow, there is a lot of men out there feeling like me. And so when I wrote this book, The Remarkable Man, I realized there is a global malaise, and men are feeling more confused, more challenged, and more frustrated as to what it means to be a man in today's world than ever before. And this book came out in 2013. And shortly thereafter, I started the Remarkable Man Project because I wanted there to be a container for men that wanted to step up and play a bigger game and take responsibility for their lives. And so that really started the journey. And we became one of the largest men's empowerment movements in Western Canada, in Vancouver, Edmonton, and Calgary. But then COVID hit and took the wind out of our sails, and I had to recalibrate, and I went fully into coaching and created the Champions Club and a couple other entities. But now that energy for the Remarkable Man Project is coming back. And so I've started a school community under that name and a YouTube channel under the Remarkable Man Project name. So that's been my journey, and I've been blessed to be able to work with the most amazing men, and you and I are part of a men's organization as well, and the Regis Realm, and Eric Mortimer is doing some amazing work. But this needs to happen, and men need to feel a sense of brotherhood. Men need to feel that they've got someone that truly has their back. And that's my tagline is you're not alone on the journey. I've got your back. So my mission in this lifetime is to inspire 1 million men to step up their game and be champions to women, heroes to their children, and brothers to each other.
That's awesome, Dwayne. I really appreciate you sharing your story, and that is a lot to go through in a very short period of time. And I can totally see how that would knock you off your game and really take a hard hit on you. You know, I went through something very similar in my life, in the sense of not so much business wise, but in a personal relationship where my marriage of over 20 years ended up dissolving and ending. And that just, you know, there was a lot of things I recognized post marriage where I wasn't showing up and all those sorts of things. And I do take responsibility for it now. But at the time, like you said, like there was a lot of men who, you know, you go to these support groups and it's all about pointing fingers at other people and not really taking responsibility. And along my journey, I've been involved with a couple of different, men's organizations, and I've come to see, like you have, that there is a real need for a stronger, more fuller way of supporting men in their life journey. And that is what has inspired me to create Lifting the Soul Ministries and
Right.
brought me to where I am today. And so I'm very grateful for men like you, and that is a very ambitious goal. And to reach that million men, I mean, I want to help you to do that, and that's why we're here today. And so, one of the things that I want to ask you today is what are some of those biggest challenges that you see men are facing today?
Well, it's a great question, Jason, and we're definitely kindred spirits. There's no doubt about it, and we're on this amazing path together, as a lot of men are. And one of the biggest challenges men are dealing with is our pop culture. And for the last 20, 30 years, there has been a systematic attack on men and masculinity. And for a lot of men, it's totally unconscious. They're not even aware that this is happening. And it's very insidious. And it shows up in our media. It shows up in the movies. It shows up in sitcoms. And you can look at it. And for all you viewers and listeners, name one program that you watch on television, that whether it's a sitcom or a romantic movie, and see where the male lead is. Like, is there a strong masculine man that has it all together, that everyone looks up to, and he is going to be the savior, the hero of the day? It's not. Most men right now are depicted as hapless losers. They are the comic. In fact, if it's a sitcom, it's the mother that is the glue. The mother is the conscious one. And in a lot of situations, if it's a family dynamic, the 5-year-old precocious little girl has more wits and awareness than silly old dad. And a lot of the comic relief is mom goes away, maybe it's to work or on the weekend, and dad's left to take charge of the household or the kids, and then all chaos ensues, right? Dad's just incompetent. And the little girl or the little boy, oh, dad, that's not how we do it. This is how we do it. Or if it's a commercial, oh, dad, we don't do it that way anymore. We use new improved whatever, and men are getting this message. But on the flip side, if you look at the information that women are getting, even from elementary school on, girls are unstoppable. Girl, if you have a vision, if you have a focus that you want to attain, you can achieve anything. You go after it. And then they get into college and they realize that boys are irrelevant. Men are irrelevant. In fact, men will just be part of the reason you slow down or fail. And boys are getting that message that they don't matter, that their sense of utility isn't there anymore. And for us men, we want to have that sense of utility. We want to be able to go, hey, I've got purpose in this relationship. I'm going to be the king. I'm going to be your champion, and be in there. But women are going, no, I'm a strong, empowered woman. I can do it all. So we have this clash of the masculine and feminine that's happening right now. And men, because of our pop culture and the labeling of masculinity being toxic, now it becomes, oh, I better not show up in a strong, assertive way. I better be more heart-centered, and just be in my feelings. No. And then men start doing that and they realize I thought this was supposed to work. I thought I'm supposed to come from my feelings and be very, connected to her heart. And then she's pushing back or she's leaving me. What's going on? And that's something that I learned in my relationship before I was aware of all of this, Jason. Because she was such a strong woman and I was in a strong place, I was able to lead. But when all this unraveled and I became more in my beta energy, and I didn't have the languaging back then. I didn't know I was acquiescing from a masculine frame to a more feminine frame. But this is what happens when a man is losing his sense of direction or a sense of purpose. And we start to drop into a more feminine energy. It doesn't mean you're switching teams anytime soon. Both men and women have masculine and feminine energy in us. However, we have to be able to regulate it in the right way to suit the circumstances. So in my situation, as I was starting to lose part of who I was, I thought to make her happy, I would have to pacify. And that ended up being, yes, dear, whatever you like, dear. No, you pick the movie, dear. Whatever restaurant you pick is fine with me. Here's some flowers, dear. I didn't know she was doing the gag reflex all this time, because what she wanted from me is, honey, little black dress, 7 o'clock, get ready. We're going out. And I thought, okay, well, I could try that. And for you listeners, I want you to really understand how this works. If you are backpedaling and you are in a more feminine beta energy and you try to assert your power, she will do what's called the shit test. And that shit test will show up in a way where you may feel undervalued, or you may feel that all your efforts are in vain. Case in point, if you try, honey, little black dress, 7 o'clock, go get ready, and you haven't been in that frame, she is going to go, no, honey, no, we're just going to stay home. Let's watch some Netflix, order in a pizza. We need a sitter, or the garage is dirty, whatever it is. She'll come up with a reason not to go and have a great night out. And most men will go, oh, well, I tried that. Didn't work. Okay, honey, whatever you want. Yep, sounds good. Let's get pizza and we'll Netflix our favorite show. Sounds like a great compromise. Sounds like he won. Sounds like, hey, everything's good. But meanwhile, she's doing the slow burn of resentment because you just failed the test. What she needed was, babe, I get it. I get it. But here's what's happening. Grandma's going to be here in about 30 minutes, taking care of the kids. Oh, and did you happen to see the garage? Yeah, go check the garage. Opens the door. It's clean. Everything looks great. And little black dress, babe, let's go TikTok. And you do it with a smile. You're just like, let's go. Come on, get your sexy ass upstairs. Let's go. And those red heels, yeah, those. Let's go TikTok. And then she's like, and she may want to shit test again, but she's got nothing. She's got nothing. And she's going, oh, wow, he's standing in my fire. Oh, okay. But it is just beginning, brother. You have got to maintain that frame. And this is not you going to, your 5 favorite restaurants like an Earl's or, Chuck E. Cheese, whatever it is. It's a reservation. And it's not a date night to escape the kids. It's not a date night to shake up the norm. No, this is romance night. This is you, and you're putting on your finest. You're not just wearing a hat and your cat diesel power cap. No, you are wearing that jacket, that shirt, those pair of pants, those shoes that she goes, damn, that's my man. And then all through dinner, you've opened the doors and you're holding hands, candlelight, nice glass of wine or whatever your favorite beverage is. And you are building sexual tension, because the idea is you're going to rock her world when you get home. It's not like, well, that's a nice night. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, that was wonderful. No, you're building sexual tension, because that's what's typically missing. If you've gone into a more beta energy and she's gone into a more masculine energy, sex is usually the cannon fodder. And most couples that are in this dynamic, which is the majority, which is incredibly sad in its own right. So a lot of sexless couples, or when the sex is typically utilitarian. I'm talking about brothers getting back to the sex you used to just, oh my God, this rock your world, rock her world. That's what you want to get back to. And you can only do that when you're in your masculine frame, when she feels it, when she is, there's my, I see my king, there he is. Because all she wants, brothers, is to let go of the masculine frame that she has to hang on to. And that's why most relationships are in struggle mode, is because you're in the frame that's not serving you. You're too far in your feminine and it pisses you off. And she's too far in her masculine and it pisses her off. The only challenge is most couples do not have a language for it. They don't know they're in their masculine. They don't know we're in their feminine. They just know something is off and it's not working. So we project, we blame, and we argue and we're frustrated. But it's because we're out of alignment of our natural frame. And brothers, it must be your priority to figure out how you are going to get more into your masculine frame. And you do this by being decisive. Look around. Where can you take some of the pressure off of her? Where can you stand in that masculine frame, make a decision where she is going to go, damn, okay, and follow through. And the more you are decisive and the more you are spontaneous. When was the last time you did something just on the fly? Now, remember, something that she likes, not something that you will typically just like just for yourself. But that spontaneity and just being unpredictable at times is so incredibly attractive. When you're in the kitchen, she's at the sink or cutting up some vegetables, just go aside from her and just take her by the hips and move her to the left or move her to the right as you're going by. Just that touch at the small of her waist. And then just go on, put a smile on your face, but don't make eye contact. And then she's, what was that all about? You know, especially if physical touch hasn't been your thing. Just little flirtatious things like that start to build up your masculine frame and allows her to soften into her feminine. But it takes work, brothers, and it takes commitment to get there.
You bring up a lot of great points there, Dwayne. That was a loaded answer to the question, and I really appreciate everything you said there. I can totally relate to falling back into that feminine energy myself throughout my marriage, and as you also mentioned earlier too about the social dynamics that have created a lot of that in regards to what we see in media and what society has portrayed on us as men. We've really been given a negative message in a lot of ways as to what masculinity is, what a man is, and everything, and it's curtailed into so many harmful dynamics in regards to relationships, and is one of the leading causes, I believe, as to where our divorce rate is at.
Right.
And then you add into the dynamics of, you know, women being empowered and encouraged, and they do have that sense of, you know, you hear a lot of that messaging. We don't need men anymore. We don't need men. We could do anything a man can do. And we all know that's not true. And a lot of times women do see that in themselves, but they can't articulate that because they've always been told something other than that. And they are truly looking for that masculine leadership, as you said, you know, before. And they will give us that shit test. Like I've seen it as a lot of the men that I've gained connection with over the years, being in these programs and stuff that I've been in. You know, they're working on themselves. They're doing things. They're becoming more of that masculine man that we were talking about, and it constantly gets thrown back in their face because the wife or their partner is like, I'm not used to this man. Who is this guy?
Right.
Like, Like, and they're kind of like, they push that test. Like, is this for real? Is the question they're asking themselves, is this for real? Is he going to maintain this, or is he just going to fall back? Is this just going to be a short-term thing that he's going to fall back into, and his old patterns and stuff like that, or is he actually going to maintain this? And so they have their guard up at first in that, and so, and I appreciate how you shared some of the things that a man can do to kind of rekindle things in that relationship, to start to show that masculine presence, that masculine leadership. And so my next question for you is with all this in mind, what is the best way that we can support men, that we can help men on this journey, so that, like as you shared, like, as we're not alone, we don't want to be alone. And that's the other thing, is a lot of times men are told, you got to do it alone, shut up, just, like, nobody cares about your feelings, nobody cares about this or that, just, do your duties, go to work, provide whatever. But obviously men need more than that. And so that's where my question comes in. How can we best support men in this changing dynamic of the world, to help them on their journey as they move into this more masculine role that we're wanting to help men achieve?
Well, again, that's a fantastic question, Jason, and it really speaks to where we're at as a society and as men. We typically, just out of ego and our masculine archetypes, that we will do the lone wolf thing way more than we'll ever seek support and help. However, and there's a romantic notion to the lone wolf thing. It sounds like you're being strong. It sounds like you're weathering the storm. I can do this alone. I'm going to plant my flag and I'm going to get through this. But if you really looked at it, I mean, how's that working for you? And I realized myself that I have a pretty strong ego, and it's like, back in the day, I'm going to figure this out, because there's a little bit of a sense of embarrassment that I don't have my shit together, that I don't have this all working out. And this is why a lot of men, you'll see, like, women, when they get a divorce, they have a divorce party, and all the girls get together. Woo, you're free, awesome, you're awesome, and they're celebrating and looking at all the hot guys that they want to, get another notch in. But rarely will you ever see a man celebrate his divorce or his breakup, simply because that goes in the loss column. And there's another place where he did not succeed. He was not good enough to make that relationship work. And that impacts a man at a very deep cellular level. And so being out there and reaching out for help often can feel like, I'm not good enough, so therefore I need to figure my shit out and have it all worked out before I join a men's group, or if I reach out for a coach, I got to have it somewhat figured out. And most men, and I've seen this all my coaching career, and even when I started the Remarkable Man Project, and I use myself as an example, men will rather watch their world burn down all around them than to reach out for help. It's our manly pride, our stoic nature, that ego really can get in the way. And this is why, and to your point, Jason, this is so, it's counterintuitive for a lot of men, but to get around brothers, and this is why joining a men's group or getting coaching is so imperative at this time. Because in order for a man to truly deepen into that masculine frame, you need brothers to do that. One thing I realized in my research is women will rarely ever give up their friends for a relationship. But men, we will give up our brothers at the drop of a hat if it means this relationship needs more of my energy. And you'll see this, and perhaps some of your listeners can relate, that you're in this marriage, you're in this relationship, but all your friends, the ones you used to have, are over here, and all your new friends are the husbands and boyfriends of your wife's girlfriends, and now through osmosis, they're your friends. And they might be great guys. But hey, we're going over to John and Pam's place. Pam's her best friend. John's now your friend through osmosis. However, typically in those dynamics, the first thing that goes when you and your beloved separate is now, before it even separates, Pam knows everything about the dynamics. Pam and Sheila and Veronica and whatever, they all know what's going on with Dwayne or with Jason. They know everything. And every time you guys get together, there's a so they're judging you just as much as your current wife or girlfriend. And then when it's called, it's over. And you call up your buddy that you thought, he's like, yeah, I'd love to hang out with you, man, but Pam would not allow me. Pam is, I can't be seen with you, man. But I wish you all the best of luck. Now, your girl has all of her friends, and now you're alone, completely alone, because you forgot to manage your old friends, the ones before you got into a relationship. And now you're calling them up again. Hey, I know it's been a while. And they're like, what's going on? And now you have to rebuild that. And it's tough for a lot of men. And the other piece too is that sometimes your brothers that you think you have, your buddies, can't handle the container of you being a mess, you being in your truth, you expressing what's truly going on in your world. You might have come up through elementary school or college or your first job and your buddies, but you're still not at that place where you can truly share. Yep, you can talk about sports, you can talk about, things out in the periphery, but when it comes to what's going on in here, oh man, hey, want another beer? Game's on. We'll get back to that. And so there's kind of like this uncomfortable ability when it comes to the real thing. And this is why having a participation in a men's group where the container is there for you to get real, for you to get raw, and know that your brothers have your back and they can lean in and go, tell me more, man. No, what's really going on? Enough of the surface shit. What's really going on? I feel something else is coming up, brother. And then you go, well, okay. I had a pretty dark day last week. Really dark day. Tell me more. What's going on? And then now you've got permission to share. And the more you do this, and the more you dump the heavy weight, the heavy load that you're carrying, it frees you up to be more in that masculine frame. And if you can't find a men's group, find a coach, find a man that's been there, reach out to Jason. It's so important that you are aligning yourself with where you're at now and the man you aspire to be. And get around men that will help you get there. Not from the anchor that you once were, but for where you are now to where you need to be. And by getting around men that really have your back makes all the difference in the world.
You speak so much truth there, Dwayne, and that is something that I've really found in my own life as I've gone through my journey, is getting around men who are really, really wanting to help you dig in and not on the surface level stuff. I've experienced everything you shared there in regards to, friends that were, husbands to my wife's friends and stuff like that, like when the marriage is over, those relationships ended basically. And, going through the process of regaining relationships with my high school or teenage friends and stuff like that I've known for most of my life. But even at that, it's hard to engage at that deep level of conversation, because all they really want to care about is, oh, well, remember this time from the past, or let's talk about this or that, or whatever. And it's all very surface level conversation. And so it's really hard to dig in. And the funny thing is as I can see in their lives, because of my experience, I can see in their lives that there are pain points that they're afraid to talk about and to dig into. And they don't really, like you said, they don't want to admit that, things aren't going as beautiful as they like to paint on the surface and everything. And so the importance of getting into these connections with men who are wanting, and there's a difference, like you said earlier, between a group of men sitting in a circle and they're just regurgitating old history, not taking accountability and
Right.
stuff like that, between a group of men who are there attentively listening and willing to call you out on bullshit, right? And really to call you out, to go deeper into where you really are truly at in life. Those types of men that I've connected with through various different programs, including the one that you mentioned that we're connected with together, the Regis Realm, those types of group dynamics have played a huge role in my transformation journey post-divorce, as I'm, not only wanting to grow myself as a man, but prepare myself for when the next woman comes into my life. Because, I want to be, in my masculine presence. I want to be able to allow the woman to, come into her feminine presence and be able to nurture that within her and create a stronger, healthy relationship.
Right.
Is it about me being perfect where I'm at? No, it's about the journey. But having solid men such as yourself, Dwayne, who have been on a journey of trial, going through the fire and rebuilding your life and continuing to work on that life, and now having a heart to serve men, like, we need more men like that. And so when I think about all of this, it's really important that men realize that there are things out there for you, and you don't have to do it alone.
Absolutely.
I would like you to speak a little bit more on what the remarkable man is, and a little bit about how you came up with the idea of the remarkable man, and what that remarkable man looks like.
Well, the remarkable man, and one thing that I struggled with at the beginning was that, okay, the remarkable man within me is the best and highest version of myself. And this is where I needed to be deeper on what that looks like. And so that's why the tagline is being a champion to the women in my life, and being a hero to the children in my life, and being a brother to each other. But I had to make sure that it was not my version of a remarkable man. Because the reality is that every man on this call can go into a meditation and visualize what that remarkable man is to him. And it's truly unique. He's not my version. He's not your version. He's his version. And so whatever that version is, I implore you. In fact, if you have a journal tonight or whenever you typically journal, write a half page or full page as to what that remarkable man is. Get really clear on him. How does he earn an income? What is his income? What does he drive? What does his home look like? What does the relationship look like? What does she look like? How does he walk? How does he talk? The absolute total embodiment of a remarkable man. In itself, if you can envision it, that's who you truly are. The version you're playing right now is the egoic small self, and you are limiting who you are meant to be on this earth plane of existence. You are here to truly be a remarkable man. That's your mission, brother. This is your evolution. And when I understood what that represented, this had to be, and this is why the Remarkable Man Project, because it is a project. You're the project to go from where you are to that remarkable man within. And within the Remarkable Man Project container and through the Remarkable Man coaching, we give you the tools, the resources, and the inner strength to get there. And also the brotherhood. And once you identify the ultimate version of you, now let's reverse engineer it to today. What would one action step today get you moving forward to being the remarkable man? And in fact, if you were to envision that remarkable man as your higher self sitting in front of you and having a conversation, what would he tell you to do? Is it going to be a bold action step? Is he going to say, get the fuck off your ass and get moving? Here's an action step, get her done. Or is he more, oh, you're pretty good. There's just a few things you need to tweak here. And, why don't we start here? And then just do it. And then every day you're making a deposit into that future self. And that future self is watching. Yep, you're getting close. Yep, you're getting close. That's it. There's the vibration. There's the energy. And I want to give you this one piece of sage, that if you are out of a relationship, fresh out of a relationship, give yourself at least 90 days before you ever entertain getting on an app or dating again. Just no, cold turkey. Absolutely not going to date, because this is your time to recalibrate. This is your time to metaphorically turn the page, because when you are going to date, and Jason, you said this so perfectly about how you want to set yourself up for when you're ready to date, because she should be getting the 2.0 version of you. She should be getting the one where you are operating from that remarkable man place, where you're showing up as her champion. And that, okay, scars and all, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm going, and this is what I am here to be with you. And then you get on the same page. What does love mean to you? What does commitment mean to you? And you have these powerful, deep conversations. No more running on assumption that you think you know what she needs and wants, and she thinks she knows what you need and want. Operate as if you have your own owner's manual. And in fact, I actually have an owner's manual for both singles and couples to get on the same page. It's so imperative that you understand how you're wired and how she's wired. And when you're ready to date, now you've got the tools, you got the resource to start with a foundational piece. You're starting off with strength. There's too many men right now are front loading their relationships. And what I mean by that is that they're all things to all people. I'm your champion, I'm your king, I'm in my masculine, I'm rocking it. But it's unsustainable. 3 months in, she starts to see you dropping, and she's maintaining her energy or going up, and you continue to drop because you have front loaded. You've kind of bullshitted your way into where you're at in the relationship. Brothers, it's time to stop that. Make yourself a priority. That's it. The man in the mirror is all that matters right now. Make it a priority, brother.
I appreciate you sharing that, Dwayne. And that's something I've really want to cultivate in Lifting the Soul Ministries, as well as the idea of not, pointing a direction and saying this is step-by-step way to get to A to B. It's really about getting down to the heart of what's going on within yourself as a person, and discovering who you really are. That's the journey I had to go on. Mm-hmm. Is through my marriage, I lost myself. I had no idea who I was as a person. And I really appreciate that you emphasized taking that time away from a relationship, post relationship, if you're in that situation, When we went to the counseling session that my wife had said she wanted to end the marriage and divorce, the marriage counselor said basically 1 year for every 5 years that you've been together is what she recommended. And I'm thankful for that advice, because for the first couple of years, like I was in no place, headspace or anything to
Right.
be in another relationship. You know, like I went through all the depression, all that other sort of stuff. And it wasn't until I started recognizing that I needed to work on myself to change direction and all that sort of stuff, where I started even entertaining the idea of connecting with other women and stuff like that. And I'm thankful I took that time to do that. And I do believe it's really important to go on this journey of rediscovery for who you are.
Yeah.
Even if you are in a relationship right now, but you're struggling because you don't know who you are. This is where, you know, the journaling comes into place, like Dwayne had mentioned, you know, highlighting and writing out what it looks like for you to be that elevated version of yourself, and start taking the steps to work towards that.
Indeed. So powerful, Jason.
Yeah. You know, Dwayne, I really appreciate our time together today. You brought up a lot of great things. You brought a lot of wisdom and insight to this. I would like you to take a few moments to just share how people can find you, you know, like on the internet and all that kind of stuff, and what they can do to reach out to you, to get connected to you, and all that sort of stuff.
Well, thank you, Jason. And it's amazing when like minds get together, how fast the time flies, right? When that happens, you know you're having one of the kind of conversations that matter. The best place to reach me is dwayneklassen.com. You could also find me on the Remarkable Man Project school community. You can go there. It's a free sign up, join an amazing community, lots of resources, lots of tools, and Brotherhood. You can join us there. And I'm on LinkedIn and also the Remarkable Man Project YouTube channel.
Awesome. So now that you guys all have the details, the question is, and we know that the world needs remarkable men. The question is, will you be one of them? And so we just want to put that out there and encourage you to reach out to Dwayne and himself, or even ourselves at Lifting the Soul Ministries. You can find us on pretty much all the social media platforms and at liftingthesoulministries.com. And so I thank you for everybody being here, for listening to us, for watching us, and really looking forward to engaging with you in the future. And I'll just say that bye for now. Much love.